Welcome to Poets at War, a podcast documenting the brood of writers, where art, theology, philosophy, and fun beckon your ears. Today on the program, General Ling and Captain Robertson engage in a skirmish over the soul of art in the age of the machine. But first, a briefing on new hardware and expanding the universe of the Guardians.
Faith like bedrock, even when the path rocks. I'm a burn marsh wiggle, but my spirit's lit. Reality's a riddle, but I won't quit. Imagined or real, I choose what I feel. None in my heart, that's the realest deal.
Oh, that would be good.
Recorded November 12th, 2025.
No actual, experience with Apple or tech anything. I just know a lot about it. So if I can get some form of credentialing. So I did that. Valve launched new hardware today out of the middle of absolutely nowhere. So that was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I see some videos on that popping up. I've not been into that, but yeah, I know about it. Yeah. I know what it is. So yeah.
I mean, they dropped a Steam machine, which is like a PC console running Linux.
Yeah. I know what a Steam machine
dropped.
is. Yeah.
Dropped a new VR headset. And also the most important thing to me, they dropped the second version of the Steam controller, which was my absolute favorite controller. They came out with one like 10 years ago and it was amazing. And they came out with another one that will be launching early next year.
Very cool.
So just super cool stuff there. That occupied most of my morning.
What are your main games you would play on that specifically?
On which?
A Steam machine.
Oh, on a Steam machine? I mean, anything. Primarily,
well, yeah, you can play anything, I know, but like, what are some of your immediate, like, I have to install these immediately?
Because I would probably have it primarily hooked up to the TV because that's like it's supposed to be a console replacement. The Lego games are immediately like that's what immediately comes to mind. So Lego Lord of the Rings, Marvel Super Heroes 2, Avengers. I technically have Skywalker Saga on my Steam account, but I don't have any real desire to play that. But the Lego games would be up there. Next would probably be like some of the Anno games. Like Anno, what is it? 1801 or 1800, stuff like that. So just stuff like that, because I'm not going to play any like first-person shooters or anything on a like with a controller on a TV, because I really, really hate playing FPS with controllers. But since they have trackpads, I could play third-person games. Because
that is true.
The trackpad is just a far superior input method to a controller stick.
I agree with that. I'm still a mouse guy when it comes to FPS or something that needs precision, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like trackpads, and Mac trackpads are amazing, but if I'm going to play an FPS, I need a mouse.
Absolutely. And that's why I said, like, I'm not going to play an FPS there, but I could play a third-person shooter. Like, I could play Witcher or something like that relatively easily. I can't play that with, I can't play even third-person with a controller stick. That just doesn't work.
Yep. Makes sense. So
super excited about that.
Yeah. So now that you've seen the ridiculous level world building that I had to go to get things straight, and I have you on voice, what did you think of all that mess?
I mean, I thought it looked good. I mean, all of the characters looked more or less like you suggest, or like you had described to me, with the exception of I don't think the Blaze looked at all like Linus. But
yeah, he's evolved a little bit. But yeah, he He's one that I kind of I don't ever have like a really. So I have his face in my mind, and there is definitely still some Linus in there in the kind of elongated nature of the face, but the generally speaking, it's just one of those things where he's always kind of just been that character in my brain, regardless of what he ended up looking like on the end of any kind of generations or things, because gingers are weird when it comes to generating. You never know what you're going to get with gingers. So, but yeah, Jesse thought initially that Coolidge was a self-insert for me. And I was like, no, look again.
Oh, that's Marcus.
And he goes, oh, that's Marcus. Exactly. Marcus Pittman for anyone listening. But yeah, it was really funny, but yeah, so I just today finally got a form that an AI can actually understand by using a spreadsheet with just text and some highlighting to describe the various phases of the invasion and how and who goes with who and what and when and why and all that other kind of stuff. And so now that I finally have that together, I'm kind of re-outlining a few things, making sure everything is consistent. Because of this world building, it brings up a little bit of extra stuff that I don't think is going to get any extra full poems, but it'll be a little bit of expansion on a couple poems. And Cass Meridian, who is one of the loners, I immediately was just kind of taken with the concept of, okay, wait a second. If she's going to be sort of a bounty hunter type, does she do ITR and bounty hunting? Does she know somebody? And there was a suggestion somewhere in my brain that was like, maybe she knows Amanda and she's coming to help, and immediately went, okay, yep, know exactly who she is. She is Amanda's friend from the academy days, who they were both military brats. Both of them got into ITR initially. She was one of the first crew members of the Magnus Canis originally, but she left to go out on her own when she found she had a more lucrative career as a bounty hunter. And so basically, like, they're best friends forever, but like they had to go their own separate ways to make a living, kind of a thing.
Okay.
So that's a cool character in and of herself, and there's a lot of backstory there. And then, there's a bunch of others that I was just like, okay, I know exactly who this character is, like, in the broader world, like, immediately. And they have an interesting story, and I'm not sure which one that I would necessarily... If I was going to do a second... I lean toward doing a different crew if I end up doing a second season. I don't know which one,
Interesting.
Though. And I don't know that that's 100%. I feel like there are more stories you can do with the Magnus Canis, but
would you bring particularly Blaze and Pandora back for season 2? Like, would you still be following Blaze and Pandora, or would you move them from, or would you just move on to a completely different crew?
Well, the next thing that kind of is part of the deal is they're starting to become a legal battle again in the Galactic Republican Federation after the fallout of all this, to essentially like bring right to repair back into question, legally speaking. But with that being said, it's still going to be a major fight, and so if I went to do an actual sequel with all the main characters, it would probably be something like there's shadow parts of the government trying to come after them, and they're trying to be respectable and blah 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 blah, and they're have sort of a Winter Soldiery sort of thing. But as far as the other crews, if I did another crew, I feel like that would be happening in the background. All the stuff with Blaze and Pandora and Amanda and the rest of Magnus Canis. So that would be happening in world on like the large big picture scale, and then we would be back with a small, not a smaller crew, but a more like ground level crew dealing with the ramifications of what's happening in on Terra, basically, like, you know, all the political stuff happening. So Nails would be really cool. Nails would be really cool to do because they're so there's I think you remember Bannister LaRue. I'm kind of setting up as like he's this obvious scumbag gonna stab them in the back and then doesn't, and is actually way more competent than you think he is, kind of a thing. And so basically, like that would be cool because they're like scum that are gonna do that no matter what. Each of them have ups and downs as far as pros and cons. But yeah, what were you saying?
I just have a hard time picturing ITR without Blaze and Pandora as the main characters, because every time every time I've heard you introduce ITR to other people, and every time that I've introduced ITR to other people talking about it, it's always been, oh yeah, it's Blaze and Pandora, life is in the blood, android type thing. Like it's always been very character driven. And if you make season 2 about different characters, then all of a sudden the series shifts from being character driven to being world driven. You can still have character driven stories, but the series as a whole is now about the world, not the characters. So that's just a shift in how I've always understood the series. Not necessarily a bad thing, but a very big shift.
Yep. The other option is Blaze and Pandora don't want to have anything to do with the conversation. They're trying to hide away after all the craziness, and they end up falling in with another crew by accident. And basically like being on the run, and they're sort of like with them. But Blaze and Pandora are definitely like the you know, for I guess pun intended, the beating heart of the series. You're correct, but the world is interesting enough to where it can support characters just as complex as they are, you know?
Absolutely, 100%. Like the world could definitely take center stage. I just didn't think you'd ever do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know how Guardians kind of sprawls.
Yeah, I know how Guardians sprawls, but like Guardians is still about the Guardians. Like it's still about them.
World of Courage spreads out.
Your offshoots are also still about the characters. Like everything is stemming off of Guardians from the characters themselves. You've got Freak Show, you've got Soldiers of Fortune, you've got all that, and it's like the characters are now going out and doing more things. Is definitely not world focused. If you just jump from this crew to another crew, then that's like it would be like if it would be like if Clone Wars came out, like particularly the clone based episodes, like the ones with Heavy Echo and Fives and stuff like that, came out immediately after Star Wars Episode 4. It's like, the world is the focus here, not the Skywalker family. Like the entire galaxy is the focus of this story, not the story of the Skywalker family. And that's just not the vibe that I ever got. As I said, not a bad thing. I'm totally down for a world focus, especially with the world as interesting as ITR's. It's just not something I ever thought you would do.
Well, World of Wrestling is that way. So it is there is precedent for it. World of Wrestling, my second season planned is Trance, which I told you about before. And so like as far as that goes, there's precedent for doing it that way in my other work. But yeah, I once I started a long time ago coming up with these crews, I was like, oh, this is really cool, but I don't want it to sprawl out and get crazy and whatever else, because I have to finish focusing on this story. And I'm there. And I'm finishing it, and it's going to be incredible and amazing and all that stuff. But like, just going through this process, I went, this world is a lot cooler than I thought it was. and not just the world, like the other characters I'm starting to fall in love with. The scrappers are really interesting. The Sylvani Trace, the stuff that I've had to do for the Sylvani Trace, world building wise, which I didn't even mention. What's up, Hazel? One second, Alex.
Yeah.
What's up? Your what? Your eye's still at rest. Your phone is still lost. I can't do anything about that right now. I love you. I'm sorry. You going to bed? Okay, I love you. So, what was it? By the way, Jesse said he's down at some point, whether we have to do it piecemeal or plan a sitting. You, me, and him reading through Guardians on video.
Heck yeah.
And he said he might be interested in doing ITR as well. So cool. When we do the full season. So but yeah, the thing with I was saying the Sylvani Trace I had to do a lot of extra world building on to get that 100%. And I know you know some about it, and I stuck to everything that you know pretty much. But it was it made me a lot more interested in the Sylvani Scrappers as a crew. Everyone loves the Gentleman's Highline just because of how ridiculous it is. And I feel like there's stuff you could do there. I know I know who a few of the characters are now. Let's put it that way. Missy Ender's crew, I don't think I could ever actually do, but they are very interesting side characters. The Tranquility crew. And then the Dreamknot crew, which barely comes into the story, are really fascinating too, because it's this guy, his wife, his childhood friend, and they were their other friend was Tesla Lambowski growing up, who's the father of ITR, and so they built like their dream home into a spaceship and travel the galaxy together, and they're elder characters, which is something that I've always wanted to do. And so that's a challenge in and of itself. And then all the loners are interesting too. So like, but yeah, Cass Meridian is probably of the loners the number one that I'm interested in at the moment. I actually have a lot of ideas for kind of just how her relationship with Amanda is, and how Amanda's relationship with Coolidge ends up factoring into all of that later on, and all kinds of other stuff. And yeah, so there's cool stuff to be done there with Amanda specifically, if Cass Meridian is like a major part of a season 2 that either has to do with the Magnus Canis, or at least the Magnus Canis mostly sans Pandora and Blaze until they come back at some point during a season, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because Amanda's really compelling too.
Yeah,
Amanda's
very compelling.
Amanda's a great character. She's a great captain. I love everyone on the Magnus Canis crew. I want to do more with Dex Kramer, and like make him. He's probably the least compelling of all of them, but he has potential to be far more compelling. So.
With the tactical maps of the Guardians universe unfolded, the conversation turns to the new front, artificial intelligence. Is it a tool for the conductor or a cheap replacement for the musician? The debate rages on.
Some AI potentially, but probably less because of the brand.
I was gonna say, I feel like AI is antithetical to everything that Logosophiia stands for.
But
and I'm sure that I'm sure that my wife will also agree.
Animation might not be as bad, depending on what's being said.
Since you're both there.
Why would I need to ask you? I know what you believe. Uh,
I actually don't like doing AI, generally speaking, that has any kind of realism to it whatsoever.
yeah.
So they take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. I get that. I'm like, I very much cooled on everything AI. Like, as I said, I don't know, was this 2 weeks ago? Last time we talked, like, I was so gung ho on AI. I thought that it was the coolest thing since sliced bread. I thought that was super interesting. And over the last like 3 months, not because I've been like watching videos on it. I've barely watched anything like commentary on AI. Just because I've been using the tools more and I've been realizing, oh yeah, these are like way, way more limited than I thought that they were.
Well,
like,
okay. So
I just don't
when
think
were
it's
you gung ho?
all that useful or good.
When were you gung ho?
Right whenever ChatGPT came out. Like whenever ChatGPT came out, and like we realized, okay, LLMs are actually capable of understanding human language and like giving proper responses.
Okay, so
like,
right at the beginning,
blew
basically.
my flipping mind. Whenever they gave ChatGPT access to the internet for the first time through Bing, and Linus Tech Tips on the WAN show was like, okay, how many LTT backpacks could you fit in the trunk compartment of this particular car? And it goes through the entire, like, searches, okay, this is the cubic footage of this car, this is how many cubic feet LTT backpack is, boom. Like, mind-blowing stuff. Super gung-ho then. Right whenever you first started generating stuff with Suno, like the Hunting of the Dragon original one, and stuff like that, like, super interesting, crazy cool.
Yep.
And I don't think anything's been close to that ever since. Like, it's not just that the progress has slowed down, like we're no longer getting exponential jumps. It's like every AI song sounds the same.
I mean, that's changing because well, that's just changing simply because of the ability to sing your own songs, but that's not going to change on the broad spectrum until the nausea. The problem is you have the nauseating bubble issue, right? That's really what it is. People have insane fatigue from all the nonsense because everyone's just parlor tricking.
Yeah.
As soon as people stop worrying about the parlor tricks and actually start working, things are going to happen.
I mean, whenever the parlor tricks are conservatively 98% of what's being produced.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't blame you for being fatigued.
If 98% of what is being produced, like, not even 98% of what Marvel has put out in the last like 5 years has been trash. 98% of everything that is being put out by anybody using AI is trash.
Yes, because they're not working.
Conservatively.
Right. Because they're not working. That's the thing. They're not working.
Because people are using it to be lazy.
Right. Sure. I agree with you.
I know that you're not. I know that there are, I know that there are people who are out there that are, but I'm absolutely certain, sure as heck, not going to even attempt to wade through any of that.
Yeah.
It's just
you're
not
waiting
worth
and
it.
seeing. I get it. Yeah, you're waiting and seeing. I get it.
I don't think that I highly doubt. I could be wrong. I highly doubt though that
well,
will
in your
ever
profession
change.
you may not need it. Right.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that I would be shocked beyond belief. I would eat a hat if the percentage of AI that comes out that isn't absolute trash in the next 15 years drops below 95%.
Okay, so let's look at this. the lifespan of any particular technology is particularly short right now.
Yeah.
A very comparable thing we can look at in a lot of cases is television. I think the time period that television started to come around in the 40s-ish, in any kind of mainstream, in the late 40s probably.
Yeah.
We started to have a culture being brought up around it. It continued into cable, it continued into other things, and it continued on, and 98% of everything on TV that was ever produced was probably trash.
I disagree. I don't think the 98%, specifically if you're talking about like fiction content, I don't think it was 98%. It was probably 80% was trash.
Okay, but you're throwing out in the full weight an AI, right, of everything, not just the fiction content.
I was specifically talking about fiction content and like music and stuff, like things that are created, not like AI news. 100% of AI news is trash.
Right. But I'm not talking about news even. I'm talking about like literally someone's just saying like it's marketing, quote unquote, is the way they want to phrase it. It's not even. Anyway, point being, the fact of okay, if you want to go fiction to fiction, let's go the first 10 years of television. Granted, we have a little bit more of a moral basis in some regards, and at least in the regards to the arts and fiction, there's still some remnants of things floating around. There's the whole Western movies sort of a thing as a trend, that had been coming up to that point, and other sorts of ideas, but there were still trash movies and things being produced.
Oh, yeah,
it was
absolutely.
it was just a lot more expensive to do. But when TV came around and you started to have more of a budget for things, was starting to get more of a budget for things, and things were a little less expensive because
cameras out in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as TV goes, what comes out in the 1940s? I'm not super familiar with that era.
Well,
that's
late
going to be
40s,
like your
you start
Caesar's
to get
comedy hour, right?
Yes, you're getting those. You're also getting a lot. You're getting a lot of live television still, but you're starting to get live. As far as fiction goes, you're starting to get your honeymooners, I believe, started technically in the 40s, if I remember correctly. You have your
40s TV shows are Lone Ranger, Three Stooges.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ed Sullivan, which doesn't count for our
right, but these are all the ones we remember. These are all the ones we remember. The actual content was mostly not fiction, first of all, which that's the case currently with AI content in general. Most of it is not fiction. Most of it is patently not fiction. But what is there is either really dumbed down little puppet shows and things for kids. On just the kind of regular time. These are the things that we don't remember. These are the things that aren't around anymore, right? We had Doctor Who being created, I believe, in the 40s, right? If I remember correctly.
I think that's correct. It was early. I think Doctor Who starts in the 40s because Hartnell was a World War I vet.
Right. So we get some artsier things like the original Doctor Who, which quickly turned into something a lot more campy because they couldn't keep up the sort of highbrow sci-fi thing, and they were like, we got to make a show, let's go. And then we have a lot of other things that happen, and most of those shows are gone. What does exist was the best stuff that stuck around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was creativity
your Heroes, there. Your Lone Ranger, all that type of stuff. The stuff that we have, the stuff that we can like find with a quick Google search is the stuff that actually won the selection over time.
And when you look at usually back then an 8 to 12 hour schedule, because it wasn't a 24-hour schedule for a little while, and they were still pretty much every day. There were some channels that would have no Sundays because, whatever, the regional channels, whatever. Because of that, you think of the amount of hours that they were filling with whatever, and how much stuff is just gone and doesn't matter, right? We're bemoaning the in a lot of ways the disposability of media these days because we just see so much of it. We end up having so much of it shoved at us constantly, and that's a problem. But I think that the creation of a lot of content and the dissemination of a lot of content isn't as much the problem as the delivery methods themselves being decidedly anti-human and pro-addiction.
Okay.
And that has more of an onus on the platforms than the content creators themselves or the tools that they use to create it. Thinking and mulling it over. While you do that, do you mind if I pause here for a second? I'll still have you on my ears and go get
No, of course not.
I gotta process some coffee for later. Or actually I may process it for now. Anyway.
Yeah.
Be right back.
While you're doing that, I'm going to pour myself a glass of whiskey. Because I have not drank any whiskey for a while. Do 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 do
Of Alex. Ladies and gentlemen, the whiskey stylings of Alexander Robertson.
Yes. I actually haven't drank any whiskey yet. I was just prepping it.
All right, then. So yeah, back to my thesis that the issue is with the publishers and the platform creators more so than the artists, or not that they're completely at fault. Of course, artists are always at fault in some kind of way when they do crap stuff. Or the tool makers, even though the tool makers have issues because they're focused completely and totally on efficiency because we're materialistic about our tools.
Yeah. Like the issue, I'm willing to grant you that the issue is primarily with the platforms. Like
the fatigue is the problem with the platforms.
Say what?
The fatigue specifically is a problem with the platforms.
I mean, yes, definitionally so. Fatigue for anything must be a platform issue. If you had people making the metric crap tons of AI art that nobody was seeing, then nobody's going to get tired of it.
Right.
So like you do have that, you do have that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing. I don't think that it's just fatigue on my end, though, because like, yes, I see a bunch of AI stuff, but I'm also really good at weeding out AI stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see that and I know, okay, yeah, that's AI and it's not made by Joshua. I don't want to listen to that. Right. So I actually haven't encountered a ton of AI stuff.
Right.
In my own personal life, in my own, like, my algorithm, my whatever the heck. Like,
yeah.
That's just not what I personally deal with.
And you specifically made it so that you don't come across it because of your algorithm, right? Like you're anti-algorithm, and I am too. So yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, like I'm not dealing with fatigue. I would love to see interesting stuff out there that's done. Like it still probably wouldn't be my main thing because I am like that somewhere in between. I respect Ian and I want Ian to like me. Is my basic thought there. Like I respect him, I get that, and I do want to like. I want artists to be. I want to help artists. I want to see what artists put out because I care a lot more about someone who's drawing a picture and what they have to say than I do somebody who is generating something with AI as a tool. I think that there is more value inherently in a person who is doing that for themselves from start to finish. Like,
you're talking in their mission and their goal.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's what I want to see. That's the type of stuff that I want to see on my feed.
Right.
So that's what I selected for.
You are impressed and you appreciate the skill that is required, the craftsman skill that is required to create things a certain way.
Yeah.
You are also equally, although it is much more of a je ne sais quoi sort of a thing, interested in someone like me who is trying to use every tool at his disposal to realize a vision that is beyond words.
Yes.
But that is something that is less common than a craftsman.
Yes.
Right. Like, and I'm advocating for the Steve Jobs, even though there aren't a lot of Steve Jobs.
I was just about to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like you're the orchestra conductor.
Yes.
It is significantly less impressive to me. And this is not a mark against you, and you know that.
Right. Yeah.
It is significantly less impressive to me to conduct an orchestra of computers than it is to conduct an actual orchestra of artists.
Yeah.
Which, like, I totally get. You can't pay artists. As I said, not a hit against you at all.
Well, far more beyond that, and I am paying an artist. Thing. I'm paying Ian. I am paying Ian regularly. So, but the other factor,
it is a different. It's a different level. Like it's a different type of thing to be wrangling all of the different tools at your disposal, all of the visual editing, the digital art creation, the AI generation. It's a different thing to be doing that than it is to be like the director of a film who's trying to deal with your director of cinematography and the writers and the executive producers and the actors. They're just fundamentally different.
Yes. Well, to me it's the difference between being a pastor and a teacher. A teacher, especially a theologian who is like a James White, might debate, might have some rhetorical skills, but his main skill, generally speaking, is in the area of, even though I know he's a major debate kind of guy, whatever, but the main thing that he made him a debate person was the fact that he wrote books. Right? Yeah. And so there's a kind of theologian like a Rushdoony, like a Van Til, who they might preach, but that's not their thing. Their thing is writing the book. Their thing is doing the thing on the page, right?
Yeah.
So someone who is coding, who has all the possibilities of a machine, but they have to be very, very intricate with how they run the machine and what they do with the machine, and very intentional in a very big picture sort of way. That is far more of a studio sort of a thing than a live musician, right? Like a studio musician is someone who sequences music, who can make something incredible, regardless of whether, like, take AI out of the equation. When you have a sequencing musician, and even when you have certain genres of music that are only really ever sequenced instead of played live, like generally speaking, and no, I don't really count sampling, but sampling is sort of a hybrid. But the point being, like, you're saying you appreciate the live musician, generally speaking, more than the studio musician, which I understand. All I'm trying to say,
why I don't like pentatonics, and I haven't liked pentatonics for like the last 10 years.
I don't like pentatonics because I don't like their choices, though. They're great at, they have a very specific style that they have mostly pioneered. They had a little bit of other people, kind of helping them pioneer that. But the point with their style is it's extremely studio, like you're saying. It's very, very clean
super
and
polished.
cut and super polished, right? And so, but there's a place for that. And I don't think that AI is near a place where it can even have a polished thing. Not really. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. The issue is the issue with that I see is that this is from me. This is from the few AI videos that I have watched recently. Everybody's just putting out AI stuff.
Yeah.
Like that is within a rounding error, 100% of what's being put out that has AI assistance with it, with the exception of photography.
You're talking about visual audio content.
Yeah, with the exception of photography, because you've got ML tasks in photography that have been around for flipping ages. But with the exception of photography, within a rounding error, 100% of what's being put out that has AI in the pipeline is just people generating something and putting it out.
Yeah.
Like they're polishing it. They're polishing the generations. They're polishing the commands. They're doing prompt engineering, and I understand that is I understand that is a skill, a useful skill, and I don't begrudge that to anybody.
Sure, that's a process. Yeah,
but it is not. It's not what you're talking about there. The thing that you're talking about doesn't really exist.
Yeah. That's why I like chasing it.
Yeah. And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the chase.
Yeah.
But also, you have to realize that dealing with the facts on the ground, what you're saying doesn't happen. Like, even with the stuff that you've put out,
I'm not there yet.
I remember you putting out like Stonecutter and the Guardians of Atlanta shorts. Like, you're just you're doing a little bit of airbrushing, but for all intents and purposes, what you were doing is you're generating the image and you're putting it in Ken Burns style.
Yep.
And you're putting it out there.
That's what I was doing.
That's just not that. Like, this is why I've always said audio first. Like, we really should be audio first, because I just don't care about the AI generation. Like, for the prototyping and stuff, like the Trello board that you sent me, that's great use case. Love that.
Yes. Yeah.
Anything that's publicly facing forward, I couldn't give a rip about it. I'll be listening to it. I won't be watching it. And putting AI photos, Ken Burnsing over everything, over the screen, makes me want to watch it even less. It's an active turnoff for me.
Why do you think that is?
I I really don't know. Like I'm a very audio forward person in general.
Yes.
So it's probably more like that. Like if I'm going to break my audio forward nature, it's because there's somebody has taken into account someone has taken everything into account and they've created something that is very unique and interesting. I love walking through an art museum and looking at the pieces of art that were created. Like, one of our local art museums has a Van Gogh, like has an original Van Gogh, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Like just being able to look at the tiny little picture and the detail and the emotion that is packed in the picture of a guy sitting in a chair. Like, it's incredible. It's beautiful. That's what breaks me out of my that's what breaks me out of my audio focus. AI art doesn't, and dare I say, will never have that.
Okay. Let me ask, do you feel, are there, okay, I'm gonna throw a couple formats out to you, just art formats, and I just want your thoughts on them, and I'm just trying to triangulate some stuff in my own mind. The first one is music videos as a whole. What are your thoughts?
Okay. I actually really enjoy a good music video. Music videos that either elevate the song past what it already was. And I would say that an example of that would be Welcome to Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
Great music video. Yeah.
Fantastic music video. Incredible music video. Love that one. Because it takes everything that's in the text and the feel of the song, and it actually cranks it all up to 11. It makes it even better. It matches and it surpasses. Like that shot with the final drone note of the electric guitar fading off into the background as the guy in the hospital gown gets out of his bed and walks into the ruined city. Oh, it's incredible. It's so good.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Was it? I think it's Ocean Avenue's music video is actually really interesting for the exact opposite reason. It has nothing to do with anything in the song. It's just using the song as a backdrop for an actually really cool little short film about a guy dying over and over again trying to get to his girl.
Right.
Super interesting. That's basically just a short film with music over it. And I can appreciate that too. I look at it as almost a separate piece of art. That's my thought on music videos.
Okay, so on the bad side of music videos, just in general, where do you think that fails to meet the criteria you're giving?
By not adding anything. A bad music video doesn't add anything. It doesn't add any context. It doesn't add any new, it doesn't have anything in and of itself to say. Another music video that I think is very interesting to process is, what is it? Love, what's the really weird music video? Pop punk? Not Welcome to Black Parade. That's emo.
It's not Evanescence song.
No, it's not Evanescence. It's the one where they're like singing on stage and everybody's dancing around them. Oh, what is it?
What does the lead singer look like?
I'm going to go look it up. He looks like a pop punk lead singer.
It's blonde spiky hair?
Yes, I think.
Okay.
It might be blonde slicked hair.
Okay, is it Bowling for Soup?
No.
Okay. Pop punk, is it Fast?
No. It was later pop punk.
while you're thinking of that,
Mr. Brightside. Mr. Brightside is the song.
Oh yeah. Not a fan of that one, actually.
Like, the song has a is super catchy in and of itself, and the music video is so odd and off-putting that it's like watching a train wreck, because I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to say, and I'm pretty sure they're not actually trying to say anything, and that makes me even more interested in it. It might not be good, but it's super interesting, and you can't deny that it definitely adds something to the song.
So the next question or two that I have, I think is probably going to fully triangulate this for me. How do you feel about lyric videos?
Lyric videos are a great way to get the lyrics down in your head. That is all they are.
Okay.
I know that some people try to like match the fonts and stuff with the like feel of the song, but I think the highest form of a lyric video would be some form of kinetic typography, and I haven't seen that. I'm sure that it exists somewhere, but I haven't seen a lyric video that turns it into kinetic typography. And even then, that's a really small, that's a really, really small addition that I would probably be like, okay, yeah, that's kind of interesting. Nothing really beyond that, though.
I think the third question is going to clinch it for me. I think I have a diagnosis, but this is the next one. You're familiar with the concept of a fringe festival?
Nope.
Okay. Let me get you a working definition. Hold on. Because the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is like one of the big ones that's around, but I want to give a real definition because there's a lot of different fringe festivals. Give me one sec. So a fringe festival is an arts festival that showcases new, unusual, or lesser known performances, often occurring alongside a larger official festival. It is characterized by its open access nature, allowing any artist to participate without a selection committee.
Okay, so it's like an open mic night for comedians, but for musicians.
Well, it's not just musicians, it's anybody. There's performance artists, there's everything you would see in Times Square, plus a museum, plus the Renaissance people, plus the Scottish heritage people, plus anything and everything all in one place, and you can just go and peruse. That doesn't sound like
my type of thing.
I knew it. Okay, so I think we've got it. We've got our diagnosis entirely now. You feel about art, particularly visual art, the same way, and you can argue the diagnosis if you want. You feel about visual art the same way that I feel about prequels. And for reference, I feel about prequels that if a prequel is not reframing the originals in some way, shape, or form, not a complete deconstruction nonsense sort of a thing, but actually like The Magician's Nephew to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is one of the best examples.
That type
providing context, that sort of a thing, and adding to it in that way. It's actually taking something that you've already experienced in its prime form and adding stuff around it that actually brightens the original thing.
I would agree in the realm of music videos, but I would disagree in forms of original visual art. Like, if you have a piece of art that is audio forward or text forward, like logocentric, then I would agree.
What I'm arguing for is audio visual, period.
Then I would disagree.
Okay, so do you like the movie Flushed Away?
I have very fond memories of it. I haven't seen it in like a decade, but I remember enjoying it, thinking that the jokes were funny.
Okay, so you appreciate it for that, but you would admit it's pretty. I mean, on purpose, it's a pretty ugly movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up specifically is, to me, it feels like with the Stonecutter, and with most of the things that you can experience as audio, basically, if the visual is not intriguing to you, you'd much rather experience it in audio. And I think that could probably be said even for some movies, whether you know it or not. Which I totally get it. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's an inconsistent thing or a bad thing. It's just a preference thing on your part.
I would tend to agree with that. Like, if the cinematography is not adding anything to the movie, if the effects are not adding anything to a movie, then like I'm just thoroughly uninterested in the visual element.
Right.
However,
and
almost always the cinematography is either adding something, even if it's small, to a movie. Sure. The effects are adding something, even if it's small, to a movie. Or alternatively, they're so bad that it makes the movie really fun.
Right. Same with lyric videos, right? We've had some really funny lyric videos that we've looked at before. Remember that whole channel that I found that had like 80s CCM music with like anime characters?
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Right? So what I'm trying to say overall is I get excited about that just because I've never had visuals before. And I know, like, the Stonecutter thing, right? I'm not as excited about the Stonecutter anymore because I can do a lot bigger things, and I'm still working on those bigger things and trying to get a handle on those things and actually making progress, slowly plodding over time. Obviously, the big full-on thing that I'm going for in the end would actually be working with a whole crew who's completely dedicated to this thing, having enough money to pay them, and making a full-length animated opera.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's the actual goal. Go ahead.
And I know that's your goal, and
right.
I appreciate that, and I'm trying to do my best to help you towards that goal. I'm trying to do everything that I can.
I know you are.
I haven't been super great about that recently.
Oh, it's okay.
I've had other stuff going on as well.
Put a pin in that. I'd love to talk more about that, but like I'm not upset with you at all. Is my point.
Yeah,
I want to come back.
I know you're not. I know you're not.
The thing that I'm trying to get at with the AI thing overall is I know that there is absolutely no way that I can convince an entire crew to jump on board and even attempt something, no matter how much money I have, really. Like, there's no way I'm going to have enough money to convince anyone beyond a complete and total act of God in some really strange alternate universe. I am never going to have the amount of money that I need to do a first-time project of an animated opera of Guardians of Atlanta, or any part of Guardians of Atlanta, right? Even if it's put into 3 movies or whatever. The point is that, or however many episodes, as a Netflix sort of style sort of a thing, not Netflix, but you know what I mean. The way Netflix does episodic stuff. Anyway, a new media miniseries, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, but if I can make my best attempt at it with AI and show the vision for what I'm doing to other people who also get excited and be like, hey, I can do that better. Great. How can I figure out how to pay you for that? That's what I'm working on trying to be better at, and trying to communicate that with everybody else, including Ian, including Brendan, when we can actually get some time in his calendar Jesse, he's continually information and talking things out with me, but things have to start on a Poets at War level, like what we're doing now. They have to start here.
Yeah.
This is what we have. We're being faithful. We're raking the rocks, and raking rocks might not be as unproductive as people think it is. Mm-hmm. I think you've seen that firsthand with everything that we have accomplished with the Brood and Poets at War.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so my whole thing with the AI is I don't care what anyone else is doing, really, unless it gets me to express my stories in a way that it can better convey to someone who could help. Look at this thing, right? This is really cool.
Having analyzed the visual spectrum, we move to the rhythm of the fight. General Ling defines his command style as Celtic Blues and discusses the logistics of pacing in the heat of the narrative battle.
It would be really sweet if, I could create some stuff in Marcus, that's actually like good enough to where it could be on like a lore or something, and I could get that good with my skills, and God provided for me that way, and then I could work toward, some other big project that has, one of my main stories that has, the full on thing, right? Like that might be money, that might be a stepping stone to something, that might be food for my family. I'm not going to say no to that. I'm not going to say no to
of course,
having something that I do by myself. But my goal is to do things with people.
Yeah.
Right. And so just because I am in, and this is the thing too, like this is a good tie back into what we pinned. I know that everything I talk about on the day-to-day is so in the weeds for you in a lot of ways, not just with the social media, not just with AI and workflows and all those other sorts of things, but even like on a story level, it's a glacial pace for what you would personally want to see coming out of my poetry. Right?
I understand that art takes time, and I don't begrudge that to you at all.
Well, right. I wasn't saying that, but like, depending on what I'm working on, it may seem like, oh, he's never going to be able to get that thing. He's never going to finish that thing.
No,
right.
I can honestly say that I've never had that thought. Like,
oh, good.
you'll get to it whenever you get to it. I know that, I'm sure, because I know that this is stuff that you care about too. Like, you're not just gonna leave Freak Show sitting there. I know that it may take you a long time. It may take you a long time to get Freak Show season 1 done. It may take you a long time to get to Soldiers of Fortune or Guardians of Atlanta 2 or whatever. But like, I know that that's in you. I know that you've got the story there, and I know that you're going to tell it eventually. And I am perfectly fine to wait for that.
Right.
I can very honestly say that I've never had the thought of like, oh yeah, he's never going to get to that.
But you have had the thought of, how is this a stepping stone toward the thing that we want? Not necessarily just that you want, but we want.
Not even that. Like,
oh, okay.
I totally see how like you're trying to get better at AI. You're trying to do that so that you can get to that. The only thought that I've had in regards to any of that is that I have been able to tell that something is different on the poems that you've sent me that you've used AI on.
Okay.
The only thought that I've had is like, Guardians was better. Like, Guardians was better whenever you were actually writing through everything yourself. And I know that took a long time to complete, and I'm not expecting it, and I'm not.
Well, I'm not necessarily
I'm not begrudging you that, but like, I've been able to tell that something is like the one Freak Show poem that you read at FLF. Like,
yeah, that was longer.
I enjoyed it. It was good. I thought the story was the story that you were telling there was very interesting. It was cool to see it come to life. But like, it didn't feel the same as the free show stuff in Guardians 1. And whenever you said, oh yeah, I used AI for the like rough draft of it and then went through and clarified a bunch of stuff. I'm like, yeah.
No, when
okay,
I say I clarified
I
it,
get that.
when I say I clarified it, that one in particular, I had a draft of first, and then I did a draft based on that draft, and then I had end to end sort of thing. There was some AI in the middle, and most of what I wrote still came through.
Yeah, but there were like a couple. There were like a couple of things there that was just like, that doesn't feel quite right. That doesn't feel quite like Joshua. That's not how he would phrase that.
And part of my process right now, and I'm actually aware of that a lot. I'm more aware of it than you might think, but I am weeding that particular thing out. But it's a poem by poem basis kind of a thing, and I'm starting to notice it better as I go on and as I work with this stuff and figure out what LLMs actually can sound like me and which ones are entirely going to be better for other purposes. The biggest thing that I'm using right now is Gemini 2.5 through Poe, not for writing, but specifically for pulling information from SRT files, which is the subtitle files for my videos, and processing those things into other forms of social media to keep those pipelines going. And it is the fastest, best way to do that. And it is really, really helpful for just creating something that's going to very quickly express who I am and what I do. Right. Which is less of what I'm interested in anyway. Right. The writing front, I am trying to give myself more and more time to do what I'm doing while still keeping a brisk pace. So that I can put more, I'm beginning to think more in rhyme again. And when I say that, I mean like a language.
Yeah. I get exactly what you mean by that.
I'm beginning to daydream in rhyme again. And that is only going to help things. The other thing that I have, though, is one of the biggest issues with Guardians on a technical level and with some of the other early stuff that I've done. And I got better at it as Guardians went along and as other things went along, is pacing. Pacing overall is still something that I am fighting with. And even though AI is still a little bit wordier than I want it to be most of the time, I'm currently mainly using for actual creative writing, if I use anything, which is probably only 50% of the time now, and it's growing less as I'm becoming more ingrained in the writing process daily, which I've kept up with 2 hours every morning. So that's been good. But a lot of it's been world building recently, like I told you about, but needed to be done. The AI goes too long and I have to pare it back. I tend to go too short and tend to need a little bit extra.
Yeah.
And you know that's true, especially with early Guardians.
Yeah.
Sirius Jones works because it's a simple story that doesn't need to be wordy, because it's about characters who are not wordy.
Yeah. Probably the weakest module of Guardians is the first William Avery section. Like,
absolutely.
I love the jig that you've got there. What, the Tale of William Avery? Like, love that. But as far as it goes, that's probably the weakest section, just because the tone that you generally gravitate to is very not whatever tone it's supposed to be for Knights of Adonai. Like they're just completely different.
Yeah, I had to really workshop Knights of Adonai, in general, the modern Knights of Adonai, to really kind of grasp what things with William are supposed to sound and feel like.
Yeah.
And by the end of Guardians, I've got it.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
like, you know,
but by the time you get to the scene right before the battle between William and his antagonist, there, I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
Whenever you start getting into the actual politics of the Knights of Adonai, like you've got the tone down by then.
Yeah.
But
and so,
as I was saying, that like first module is probably the weakest.
Yep.
It's still good. Like I still appreciate it, but it is the weakest.
And with Freak Show, I'm actually still trying to get the tone down for the show. You know, I have the story. Getting the tone right is the hardest part right now. And reading that one aloud to you guys, I could tell it's a little too long. The pacing needed to be longer in that one because I wanted to make time feel stretched.
Yeah.
Like that was my focus. And it definitely does, but it's a little bit too much. And I'm going to be rewriting that one somewhat. Yeah. But there's a lot of really good stuff in there, you know?
Yeah, there is. There definitely is.
And most of that was me entirely, even the rhymes, you know, the rhymes that really hit are me entirely, you know? But I knew that scene, I had a hard time writing that scene from scratch in any kind of way because I don't have the pacing ability yet to write something that feels stretched. That was beyond me. Because I write very efficiently. I'm a poet. You know what I mean? Like, I have, and it may sound crazy to some people, but I have the Anglo-Saxon poet thing where we say a lot of stuff really, really fast and compact.
Yep.
You know?
Poetics of Orthodoxy, Benjamin Meyer. If you have the ability to use an Anglo-based word that is short and quick and says what you mean, use that over a Latin-based word.
Yeah. Generally speaking, go ahead.
That's what English poetry is.
Yes. Unless you are trying to evoke a Latin feel of some kind. Which there are places
I actually
for
got
that
book on my shelf. Let me find the particular example that he uses. Oh, yeah. So this is the was it William Carlos Williams' famous masterpiece of modernist minimalism, The Red Wheelbarrow. And the poem is, so much depends upon a red wheelbarrow, glazed with rainwater, beside white chickens. And then his rewrite of that using Latinate words is, a multitude is congeniently associated with a traditional mono-wheeled agricultural conveyance, dampened with recent precipitation in proximity to the alabaster Gallus domesticus.
That's fun. I like that. That is funny.
One of those is very obviously better because it's more connected to the real things, and that's where English poetry thrives. It's connected to actual things.
Right. And there are places and times where you want to connect, especially in a story, to things that are not real.
Yeah, of course.
But generally speaking, you want things to be as grounded as possible for the connectivity to the reader. That is why Clark Kent was raised by human parents in Kansas.
Yep.
Right. That's but yeah. So, and I wasn't referencing any recent movies or anything. I haven't seen anything since Man of Steel. So if anyone thinks I'm saying something like that, no. But that is why Clark Kent's, Kansas based, it's something basic. But let me think here. So with the AI stuff, that's me too. I want to bring the weird ideas and incarnate them in a way that people can bring in through their senses. And you are especially attuned to appreciating and understanding and assimilating voice and tone and even music to a certain extent. Even though you admit like you're a little bit more in the you're learning more as you grow older, but generally speaking, voice and rhetoric and phraseology and the beauty of language like poetry, those are the things that really catch you and you can assimilate easily. Those are the meals that do your stomach well, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, we were talking yesterday, and I actually uttered the phrase with absolute sincerity, and I still mean it. This is the glory of systematic theology. This is the beauty of systematic theology.
Yeah, I heard there was a little thing going on. Jesse was in the chat talking with us when he was amazing. Yeah. I heard a little bit about that. That was funny. We were having a little bit of a discussion of it with Abby, and I was discussing the difference between sanctification and justification because, whatever. But
yeah,
the it's so funny. Well, I'll go back. Going back to the audio thing. You have an appreciation for visual art that is you have less, let me put it this way. You have less of an informational basis in your taste for visual art.
Yes. I would say that that's fair.
Right? And I think that would also be fair probably for even written art that isn't read aloud. Not as much as visual, right? Not as far down that road as visual, but you appreciate it being incarnated in voice much more than just like the page, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, I would say that that's fair. That's also just because that's the way I'm wired. Like I catch things way better whenever I hear them than whenever I read them. Right. But I do I can still appreciate. I'll still appreciate something whenever I read it because I'm reading it aloud to myself in my head.
Right.
Like I've got that little voice that's running all the words through.
So with the teleology of AI, especially on the day-to-day basis, not in the actual ultimate end orthopraxy of the tools, but in the and I'm talking ultimate. I'm not talking, because this is the thing. We didn't figure out how to do probably 30% of the shots that we do in modern cinema, and I'm not talking about anything CG. I'm literally just talking about shots. We didn't figure out how to do 35-ish% of the shots that we can do and regularly use in cinema until after Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, didn't Citizen Kane effectively invent the not the hero shot, but the
right
angled up shot, because nobody had thought to put a roof on the sets before.
Right. And so in that same way for cinematography using the analog, I think that there are actual orthopraxies using AI that are years and years ahead of us. The technology is going to progress way faster than any sort of actual practice, right? And this is part of the problem, and whatever else. I'm with you there. But beyond that, I look at AI in general the same way I look at when people first got Windows Movie Maker. Right? They're creating lyric videos to songs, they're creating anime music videos, they're doing these things and learning the tools and figuring stuff out. And a lot of people are playing the algorithm games and trying to make money and trying to do all these things. And it's, you know, people are going to be rushing, people are going to be doing bad stuff, people are going to be doing all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to keep my head down and my eyes on the prize. And the prize of AI specifically is, first and foremost, being able to communicate what I want to make to people on a mass scale in a way that they can instantly recognize and articulate. That's the first thing. And I'm not there.
Okay.
We're not there yet, but it is something that very conceivably could be done. I could create something that can very clearly show what I want to do, because what I want to do is far more esoteric than people are used to. The idea of an animated superhero opera, right?
Yeah.
Like all those sorts of things. Like you could say that and people are going to go, what? And then you experience Guardian. It's like, oh, right. And you can experience it at the base level and get it. Not everyone can. Right.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is the excitedness that I have, and this is less of a thing than the first. The first one, foremost one, is what I just said. The second thing is learning what I can do with the tools, so that I learn, and in learning what I can do, applying a biblical lens to it and understanding why God gave this to us in the first place. It's the whole like Adamic idea of digging for the ore of Ophir, or golden ore of Ophir, and whatever else, right? It's digging into what God has put into creation and figuring out how the logic, the way God made logic work in the universe, even on an algorithmic level, how that math, which man so tries to bend to his own will, which is not good, how all of that ultimately comes back to reflect him, and I can praise him and, you know, sing a doxology for it. That's the secondary thing with AI. And it's more of a second because I know what my purpose is, what my telos is, with what he's given me to do. I'm very confident in that. And so anything beyond that is icing on the cake, right? Anything beyond what I'm trying to focus on, see other people succeed in here, other you know, amazing things happen over here, the whole story of history, that is secondary to the mission that God put me on, but I still appreciate it greatly, right? And I want to cheer everyone else on who eventually will come along and figure out good ways to use things, just like they did with television. I still argue the vast majority of everything that's ever been on television, even in fiction, probably wasn't worthwhile. You know, we remember the best stuff. You know, this is the way art works.
I would say a clear majority. I could definitely agree with you on a clear majority of everything that's ever been on television was not worthwhile. Yep. I would, if we're comparing apples to apples with my statement about AI, I think that the percentages were clearly more in favor of television than what is currently being put out with AI.
Oh yeah, because we have a much larger, we have a larger sample size after people started standardizing things and figuring out how stuff worked.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'm with you there. But that's part of, in the, not in the Philip Keller sense of progress necessarily, although it could be, but that is part of actual progress too, whether it's capitalist, distributist, or communist. Doesn't really matter. Like, people are going to standardize things and figure out the best ways to use a thing, and then tell everybody else or make it a law that you have to follow. Right? Like, this is part of how technology generally works. I just tend to be more on the libertine side on a lot of that, because I want people to find all the ways to use a thing and be like, oh no, don't do that one. That's the other thing. It's not just for the positive. I want people to find all the ways that you can use something negatively, even if it's just ontologically, like, figure that out. I'm not saying necessarily do it, right? But like ontologically figure out, like, oh, you could use a camera for porn. That would be bad.
Yeah.
I want us to actually have those thought experiences so we know not to go there. Every bit as much as I want us to know, oh, you can actually, like, create a mockumentary. You know what I mean? Or like whatever it is, you know, there's so many different other things you can do with a camera, right? And so so I tend to focus on positive, but like I want to know what all things I shouldn't be doing with AI too, which is one of the reasons I continually have conversations with people about it.
Yeah, that's
especially
that's
people who are way against it,
that.
You know? Yeah. So if you end up seeing anything with Logo Sophia, Debbie can still tell me no. I'm not gonna be upset.
Yeah,
but like
I know.
But for me, like, I'm not looking to trick anyone, so I'm probably not going to use. I'm definitely not using anything with faces that looks photorealistic. I could see myself like maybe a close up on some hands holding a rosary if it's actually like a good hand. You know, not AI hands, whatever.
Or like a background or something like that.
Yeah, you know, whatever, something like that. But something that looks like stock footage B-roll that's not faces or, you know.
Yeah. So that I don't have a problem with that. Whenever anybody does, I really don't have a problem with like AI taking the place of stock footage.
Right.
Because stock footage wasn't art in the first place.
Exactly.
And you're not supposed to, and it's not. Stock footage is a part in the process, and people using AI as stock footage. As stock footage. Like, if you're using AI as stock footage, you're never going to end up with a completely AI slop video.
Yeah.
Like, if that's the piece, if that is the element of your video that you're using AI for, then I don't have an issue with that. I think that that's fine. I've done that. Like, you know, I did that with the wine presentation. I had you generate like just generic Roman party background that was real bad. Like is real bad. Go back and look at it. Like none of those faces work at all.
No.
But like,
no. Of course
it doesn't need to. That's
right.
Like it's meant to fade into the background, provide a little bit of flavor, and then be gone. And I'm sure that nobody has noticed whenever I'm giving that presentation that there is actually that those pictures are AI, because that's the point. They blend into the background.
Right.
And whenever you're using AI as the background, the voice, the text, and the music, that's whenever everything gets insane.
Yeah. No bueno. I'm not about that.
Yeah.
I've been working really hard lately on and you'll appreciate this. I've been working really hard on trying to figure out mastering for singing on the AI tracks, and also just my performance in general. The biggest thing that I have found is I need to get my instrumentals into the key that I need them to be in, because even though I can hit those notes, doesn't mean it sounds good on a microphone. It could sound great in person, like especially high notes and things like those things can actually sound really good in person. They don't sound good on a microphone when I'm straining. And so that, combined with making it making an equalized pocket for my voice, actually generating from the beginning of the generation process, trying to make it for a baritone voice, because that actually equalizes the music in such a way where there's a pocket for my voice. You know, things of that nature. Like, I am really, really trying to figure that out, because I want, if I can swing it, which I don't think I'll be able to, but if I can swing it, as many real voices on the entirety of this sort of AI thing that I'm working on right now, which is mainly just the prophecy, but like trying to figure it out. Like, I want full voices beyond that too. I'm still generating arrangements, essentially, is the way I'm thinking of it, for for all of Guardians, and I've been doing one a day and just trying to see what I can get, and I'll go back to it and fix them and whatever else. But like the I am up to the latest one I did was Not Helping, which is the banana bread one that makes you laugh so much, from Cyclone Jones' Standing Peach Tree. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've learned through the process, you know, because reverse engineering, you know me, I've realized I actually have, and doing that and doing the other songs that I'm doing, which basically is just getting arrangements for me to be able to do vocals eventually, and while I'm working on making them sound good and developing a style for my vocals specifically, both character stuff and my actual voice, Joshua David Ling, singing or narrating on a track, right? Whatever. The I've realized I do actually have a style that fits me that I can sum up in 2 words. and it sounds almost oxymoronic. Celtic Blues.
Okay.
Celtic Blues is my style.
Okay.
I'm not saying for everything, because especially on the operatic stuff, the stuff is not literally operatic, but you know what I mean, the storytelling stuff. Like, I want it to fit the story. I want it to fit the scene. I want it to fit the moment, and I'm getting better at that and figuring out what I'm able to do and what I'm not able to do. But for my songs, the things that I want to actually write as songs and actually as music and have my voice sing on it and whatever else, and fit my voice to the music and all that other kind of stuff, or fit the music to my voice, rather, is what I meant to say. I sing Celtic Blues. It's like a uniquely American Celtic thing that has an influx of country and soul, which to me can only be blues.
Yeah.
So yeah. You sound flabbergasted.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
So I haven't been sending you most of these just because I know, you know, you're going to hear the AI voices and whatnot, but like I said, I'm thinking of them as arrangements. I'm thinking of them as, this is basically MIDI music. This is the new MIDI. I'm going to get stems from this, and I'm going to make this my own, and I'm not good at doing it yet. I'm aware I'm not good at doing it yet, but I'm going to get good at it. I'm going to figure this thing out as far as the mixing and the mastering, to where I can make it sound good. Because I know I have a voice that can do good. Because I know what it sounds like in person, and I've made videos that sound good because the track was made, you know, with my voice in mind, and my, you know, all those other sorts of things. You know, I know that it's doable because I've done it. I just don't know what I did yet.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about trying to find what fits.
Yes. Yes, entirely.
Yep.
That being said, Cyclone Jones, The Long Summer, Crusader, The White Knight, which is the one that you said probably felt the weirdest, you know, whatever.
It's still good. I still enjoyed it. But
yeah, and the first couple poems of Standing Peach Tree. Is there anything you want to hear? It's okay if you don't.
Not immediately.
Okay.
Because I need to get going and start heading towards bed soon.
Yeah, totally. I do too. Not bed. Actually, that's about now. I need to get to recording, but I don't have as much tonight, but that's good. I have just a couple things. Yeah, but anyway, all right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and talking. It was kind of nice to just talk to you for a while.
Absolutely. Completely agree.
You too can be a part of the brood of writers and poets at war. Just visit joshuadavidling.com/discord to join. If you're a true poetry patriot, you can support us on Substack and Patreon and get the recordings of all of our encouraging and strategic meetings, along with much more. Once again, all links can be found at joshuadavidling.com. Over and out.
God of song said